Hello, everyone. Welcome to another DCU Daily. I'm John. Very nice to see all of you. Well, nobody's watching right now because we just started, and this was a very last-minute show start, but that's okay. That's okay. We are here to talk about, of course, all things DCU, but not just DCU. Obviously, we will be talking about a lot of Harry Potter stuff in regards to the new show that's coming out. We're going to be talking about a little bit of Marvel, not MCU Weekly, because that was already yesterday, but we are going to be talking a little bit about Marvel. And I am also giving my review for the newest episode for Alien Earth, Episode 3, Metamorphosis, so stay tuned for that. Of course, getting into our wonderful quick hits, and then finally end everything with DC news, as we always do. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the new Lego Batman game that seems to be coming out, and it seems like they're kind of Skywalker saga-ing Batman a little bit. Got a little bit of Arkham influence there too, so that's very exciting. And then, of course, John Turturro talking about why he wasn't in the Penguin, which was a different reason from when he initially said it. And then Sean Gunn talking about his Maxwell Lord, and then, of course, getting into Peacemaker. The show is almost upon us. It's going to be here in only 2 days, 1 day and about like 2 hours on the East Coast, but that's okay. But we are going to get into all of this and more, so stay tuned for the show.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
Robert
You're
Downey.
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Okay, we are here to start the news, and we already have people jumping in. Patrick and Tony coming into the chat. Hello to the both of you, as well as a bunch of other people watching right now, but hello to the both of you. Thank you for joining us. Damn it. Forget about Matrix 4 until I see that opening. Yeah. And then soon to be Matrix 5, if that's still happening. So, anyway, so just me for now. Dan is off doing stuff for his own shit, as well as Tier List Tuesdays, which we are going to be doing after this show. So let's try to get through this as quickly as possible so you guys can see the tier list stuff that you guys really, really want to see. So, well, that's what the going back into the Matrix news story in the intro is all about. That's about a Matrix 5. So sorry, buddy. Yeah, we can happily skip that, but we're not here to talk about Matrix 5. We're here to talk about Harry Potter from a sci-fi to a fantasy. Also, good evening, Movie Spud. Hello, very wonderful to see you. But we have some news in regards to HBO's Harry Potter series, and that is the casting of the Weasleys. So a production photo revealed that we have gotten many more Weasleys. Obviously, we know who Ron Weasley is, but it seems that we also have Percy, the twins, Fred and George, and Ginny Weasley. So obviously Alistair Stout was previously cast. We knew of this, was previously cast as Ron Weasley, the titular redhead, but it seems that Tristan Harland and Gabriel Harland as Fred and George Weasley, Ruari Spooner as Percy Weasley, and then Gracie Cochran as Ginny Weasley. So Catherine Parkinson is going to play Molly Weasley, And then the father, Arthur Weasley, has not been casted. Either he's not going to be in the first season, or um, they are going to probably not cast him just yet. Although I don't think Molly Weasley was in the first one, was in the first book either. So obviously we'll see. They might, with how they're probably going to be like, oh, we're not going to follow the books at all. They're probably just going to do whatever the hell, and then it's just going to be terrible. So I'm willing to bet that like they're going to be probably filming 1 and 2 back to back, and then everyone's going to hate how it's not following the books, and then they're going to backpedal heavily, and then hopefully they can actually follow the books for the rest of the series. So, and Geeky Guy we will get into that super chat once we get into DC stuff. But yeah, this is very exciting. We did get a bit of Harry Potter news yesterday, because we saw a little bit of that footage of the main actor for Harry and Nick Frost as Hagrid, Dominic something for. What was his name? Dominic McLaughlin. That was it. As Harry and Hagrid in the streets of London, and it looked like they are gonna make it a quote unquote period piece because the original books took place between 1991 and 1998, I believe. So also, hello, Anthony. Very nice to see you. But yeah, so we got a little bit of casting news. That's very exciting. I don't know if I'm gonna be watching this. Like, don't get me wrong. There are a couple things I like. Like, I like how we're getting, a series because I feel like that makes the most sense. But I still feel like they're doing it too soon. They probably should have waited like at least another decade before even attempting a reboot of Harry Potter. But I feel like this, the more I read about it, I'm just so on the fence. I'm definitely not going to be watching it on HBO Max if I do end up watching it. And yeah, it's just the idea of the showrunners being like, yeah, we're not going to like follow the books at all. We're just going to do whatever the hell we want, which is like the whole reason to do a show is to more accurately adapt the books. It makes no sense. And I believe no, they haven't cast Sirius Black or Lupin or Tonks or Kingsley Shacklebolt because they are much later. They're in later books. So Sirius, Remus, Tonks, they show up in Prisoner of Azkaban, and then Kingsley, I don't think shows up until like Order of the Phoenix, if I remember correctly. So there is that. So yeah, very exciting for the new crew. So as I was saying before, Tristan and Gabriel Harland are the twins. Rory Spooner is Percy Weasley, and Gracie Cochran as Ginny Weasley. And as we all know, Alistair Stout was Ron Weasley, as that was already previously reported. But we still are going to keep this Harry Potter train going with Dominic McLaughlin finally, preparing for the role of Harry Potter himself. And he was talking about how it was very surreal. I mean, it's a dream role, but still very surreal. But he was saying, he said this specifically, a bit surreal, to be honest, because I was always a huge Harry Potter fan when I was younger. You're like 10. Like, how much younger when you were 5? Come on now. And it was like the dream role, of course. So I'm thrilled to be able to be doing it. So I think they're obviously currently in production right now. So, I do hope it's good for the sake of the kids. Not just the new kids that'll see this as their adaptation of Harry Potter, like it was for our generation to see that, because like how much of a cultural phenomenon it was. And then just for the kids involved in the making of the series, because if the show's bad, I don't know if they have like Instagram. I mean, they shouldn't at their age, but I just think just for their sake, just because like if the show is bad, they always go to the actors. They don't go to the people making the show or the writers or anything like that. They always go to the actors. Kill the actors. It's just like guys, come on. It just doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. And I think but people on the internet, they're gonna blame these kids, unfortunately, if the show is bad, and they're going to get a lot of hate. So hopefully they're okay and they're protected and they take the steps to, before they get there. But people in the chat talking about it. Will all the failed TV series after there have been movies? I don't feel this will bode well. Glad to be wrong. Obviously, I agree with you. Usually movie adaptations that become TV adaptations in terms of reboots usually don't end up well, but hopefully we are wrong. I feel we will see characters like Luna in earlier scenes is what I think they are going for. I agree with that. Sometimes the side characters, some development. Yeah, I agree with that, Hugo Millie. Also very nice to see you again. I think they are gonna actually, since they have the time to actually build these characters properly, that I think ooh, sorry. That they're gonna, so when Lavender Brown or Luna or all these other characters that become way bigger in other books, in later books, that you kind of care about them a little bit more because, well, they actually took time to develop them as you would a book, but this time in a TV show form because you have that space to, do so. And, they already said, oh, we're not going to follow the books, which I feel like is kind of a fuck you to J.K. Rowling because of how, terrible she is. So it's like, we're not following the book, so screw you. But she is an executive producer, so I don't know how that's going to bode well. But obviously, we'll see. I think you meant Potterhead. For me, I would have rather than did the series to begin with instead of the movies. I like the movies, but a series you can build it out more, as we've been saying. Before we need to go to that need to get over themselves. They're upset that they're not bringing back Daniel Emmon. I mean, I don't think they will, since I don't think they want to be part of it. And then J.K. Rowling hates them now because they actually support human rights. So I hope they scar the kids. What? That's terrible. Voldemort, please have accurate comic accurate Voldemort, please. I like TV series and agree you can tell more, flesh out the characters. Problem is movies and books are so big shoes to fill. Like Hagrid, big. I agree, especially with people that are no longer with us, like Richard Harris and Robbie Coltrane and Maggie Smith. So bigger shoes to fill. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter what I do. I'm always number two. Hello, Jose. Very nice to see you. Yeah, it's a shame. Harry Potter feels like Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. To me, they're timeless and don't need reboots. So only excuse for this was to be more accurate to the novels, but there were not. So the whole show feels meh. I agree. Well, more so when you read the books, you see where she's like, oh, and this means this in later books, whereas a team of writers can probably develop this world rather than better than Rowling ever. I don't know about that. It just seems to me, it just seems a bit spiteful because J.K. Rowling is a horrible person. So they're like, okay, let's fuck over her vision kind of thing rather than, oh, let's do our own thing. So there's that, unfortunately. Exactly. The Watcher, I agree. John, I believe the veteran actors in the series are going to protect these kids from the stuff, and I think the girl who's playing Ronnie is used to criticism like that. She's a Broadway actress. Definitely not upset about bringing back original actors. Be cool to have continuation onward, but all the actors and actresses pass on, start fresh, see where it goes. I agree. So, it's just it's a whole thing of I'm so on the fence in regards to this series happening because of the movies I grew up with. Even though looking back, they're not the best movies ever, but they're good for what they are. J.K. Rowling being horrible, them not adapting the books, the casting kind of being hit or miss. So obviously we'll see, but it's just I don't know if I'm gonna watch this. It's probably unlikely, but it's probably not made for me. It's probably made for this new Gen Alpha to grow up with and grow up with these characters and that kind of thing. Exactly. They're gonna just keep pumping this stuff out until they stop making money, which is never. So there's that. Sorry for the yawning. I'm very tired today. But moving from one big franchise to another, now we're going to be talking about Marvel. And apparently, the director of the Marvels, Nia DaCosta, who is going to be doing the 28 years later sequel, The Bone Temple, she was saying they lacked a really solid script, which is always going to just wreak havoc on the whole process. And James Gunn has now experienced the quickening because everyone is just continually proving him right. And that's what it is. So, yeah, I mean, I could have fucking told you that. Even now, and I'm not just saying that Marvel specifically. I haven't seen it, so I can't judge. But in terms of like any bad movie that's like, oh yeah, we like barely had a script. It's like that can only work so many times before it bites you in the ass. And now it is starting to really bite the MCU in the ass. And it feels like Kevin Feige's not learning that lesson, even though he's like having all these fake promises of like, oh, we're going to focus on quality. Same with Bob Iger. We're going to focus on quality. We're not going to have as many shows. We're not going to have as much homework. We're going to reset it. All this other stuff. But show me the receipts is essentially what I'm saying. Show me the goddamn receipts. I'll believe it when I fucking see it. Because with all this shit going on with Doomsday not having a finished script and they're not done filming because of they don't have a finished script, nobody's going to believe that. And the Marvel franchise is going to still be tanking no matter what you do. You could bring in X-Men. You could bring in Fantastic Four. You could fucking, have 10 more Spider-Man movies to keep you afloat, to get you those billions while you just piss away everything else because you don't know what the fuck you're doing. Fine, whatever. It's just going to keep tanking until you have nothing. And you're like, what could have gone wrong? Well, gee whiz, I wonder what. Not having a proper blueprint for your movie and then it tanking. Like, say what you will, but like Brave New World was a hackneyed mess. Sure, it didn't have as many reshoots as we was initially reported by the asshole known as Jeff Snyder, but it still had substantial reshoots to the point they like reshot half the movie. Sure, they didn't have as much time, but it was still a couple weeks, and it was still enough to redo the entire movie to feel like there were reshoots. And Thunderbolts, while that was good, it still felt very empty to a lot of people. And then Fantastic Four, we finally got there. And, Thunderbolts also, not getting the money they needed. Same with Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's going to make money, but not nearly as much as they thought they would. So yeah, they do have they're getting those critical reviews back, which is great. Fun for Marvel, awesome, great, and amazing. But at the same time, you're with stuff like this, especially for the future. Yeah, you can say that about the past. Okay, fine. But for the future, you're not learning your lesson. You could say all you want. You could blow hot air as much as you want. Say that you've learned your lesson. We've learned our lesson. We learned our lesson. We learned our lesson. But you're not, because look at this fucking movie that's currently filming right now. I'll believe it when I see it. So, but a lot of people are kind of agreeing with me in the chat. So I blame this on the previous guy. Before I returned, he cared more about quality over quantity, so he wanted to push movies out before the script was ready because of Disney Plus. I think you mean quantity over quality. Star Wars MCU, why the hell are they saving on paper, no script, making us trust you with our money? Apparently, yeah, there have been reports that there's been bickering on set. Robert Downey's not happy with it now, but those were rumors by Jeff asshole Snyder. So we don't know if those are true or not. So obviously we will see for the future. I don't know if Kevin Feige needs to be fired, but like, here's the thing. If both Doomsday and Secret Wars fucking don't make as much money and they're not a critical darling, Bob Iger might considering firing Kevin Feige, because it's like, all right, you gave us these big things. Like the only movie I can see in the near future that's, greenlit and, filming right now is Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's popular. People love Spider-Man. Everybody loves Spider-Man, no matter what. People like Tom Holland, and even the naysayers like myself saw the potential in No Way Home. And yeah, I don't like bringing in Hulk and Punisher and all these other fucking people into Spider-Man 4. At least at the end of the day, they're doing like a lot of practical filming. The set photos are good. It seems like Destin Daniel Cretton might be doing something good. He might be the new fucking Kevin Feige at this point, because it seems like Kevin Feige just I don't know. Maybe he's just finally dropped the ball now. Gunn is the real reason the Infinity Saga actually did well behind the scenes. Feige admitted it years ago. Gunn gave Feige notes and outline all the time. Yeah. I can't see it happening, but like the only way is like if Secret Wars and Doomsday bomb fucking hard. That's the only way Bob Iger could be like, maybe we need somebody new. I don't see it happening, but that's the only possibility I can see it. Exactly. Those who do not learn from history are doomed to fucking repeat it. Think after with so many failed movies, it's just they have not. What I'm hearing about Feige's X-Men sounds bad, like bad. What's your source for that? Get a Tom Cruise video swearing at someone. Johnny, can we give Marvel the benefit of the doubt when it comes to Doomsday? They have to rework this movie. Yeah, they had years to do that. They they had like 2 years to do that, and even Feige said before Quantumania they were rethinking the Kang Dynasty. So like that was back in when was Quantumania? Like 2023, like 2022. They had 2 to 3 years to think about this. Yeah, they had to rework a lot of shit. But like at the same time, you had a lot of time. You had a lot of time to figure this out. And 2 to 3 years in movie time is a long fucking time. So yeah, they had time to fucking figure it out. So I would say, sure, you can maybe give them the benefit of the doubt. But like, there's only so much I can give, and it seems like that it's just not the case here. Yeah. So. Also, hello, Enterprising says a lot about the Marvels. MCU needs to change the way they're doing things, at least somewhat. What they have been doing isn't working. True. Yes, we are late. Sorry about that. Not eating anything. I already had my dinner. Nothing about that. Yeah, what are you talking about with the X-Men? You said it's bad, but John, I hope it doesn't sound like I'm defending Marvel further my steps, but it feels like it's a little bit harsh because when you have to make, I get it, but like I feel like they've had a lot of time to figure this out, and it's like here's the thing, like James Gunn built a universe in 2 years, like the steps taken for Superman and the future, he did that in 2 years. You're telling me you can't figure out like a movie, 2 movies? And their future in like 2 to 3 years, Kevin Feige? Come on now. Come on. I believe Liz is coming in on Thursday, if I remember correctly. So, yes, I think she's going to be coming in. So, kind of a very, very winded kind of question. I apologize, but, kind of just reiterating what we were saying before. So yeah, but DaCosta was also talking about 28 years later, the Bone Temple. They were saying making the 28 years later sequel was one of the best filmmaking experiences I've had. One of the issues I had with Candyman and Marvels was the lack of a really solid script, which is always going to wreak havoc. So even they admit Candyman had a not great script. So that says a lot because a lot of people had a lot of problems with that movie. So that's quite interesting, if I do say so myself. So yeah, they should have things mapped out. But let's not forget the previous guy took his power away from rewriting the scripts. He had his banker buddies in charge of scripts and where movies went. Yeah, I know that you're thinking of Bob Chapek. That was the guy who replaced Bob Iger. He did a lot of bad, and then he got booted out. So, Feige is wanting to make X-Men political, even though they've been, at least since the Chris Claremont run, they've kind of been political. And it will revolve around the multiverse. They won't be from 616, a whole list of things. That sounds bad. Let me see a source on that because I don't believe that. But yeah, this was just Nia DaCosta talking about her time on the Marvels and the Bone Temple. So very interesting, very cool. But we still have one more Marvel thing before we get into Alien Earth, and that is apparently Mahershala Ali will not be voicing Blade in the Marvel Zombies adaptation, and he's going to be a Blade Knight variant, a Moon Knight Blade, which is certainly interesting. And they're going to be played by Todd Williams, who was also in the Chicago Code. So I know people are going to run and scream and be like, this means the Blade movie isn't happening. This means that it's going to fail. Bah, 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 bah. All this other stuff. So yeah, I do think you know, I think there is like a whole like controversy with this. However, remember when for the What If series, Tom Holland didn't voice Spider-Man. Yeah, it was somebody else. And usually more often than not, they won't lend their voices because they have schedule, they have other projects to do. And I'm sure Mahershala Ali, the man, is very busy. So he's probably doing a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah. But this isn't like the biggest. I know people are gonna say it's like, oh my god, this means doom for Blade. I mean, to be fair, Blade is already doomed, but like I think Mahershala Ali not voicing the character isn't going to be a huge deal since Tom Holland didn't voice Spider-Man for What If. So it's not, I don't think this is a huge deal, but consider, I mean, not like Blade is happening. It's not fucking, again, we'll believe it when we see it. Blade is still not happening. So, it's not bad. That's what I'm saying. It's not bad because, but I'm just saying, like, if people are worried about this, they're like, oh my god, like Blade is definitely not having that. No, it's just another guy is playing him. That's all. So, I think it's not that big of a deal, but just an interesting little tidbit in regards to Blade and his future as a character. But again, we will see Blade when we see it. So, but yeah, now we move on to the next thing, which is, of course, Alien Earth. So we are going to be getting into that now, and I'm going to be changing the thing to, even though it's not movie talk madness, we are going to be getting into a little bit of this. So the next thing we are going to be talking about is, of course, Alien Earth. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything major for the series. However, if you've not watched the newest episode yet, which just premiered like 3 hours ago, just keep that in mind. And so if you haven't seen it, please click away now because yeah, I'm still going to be going through the motion. So this continues on from the events from last week. The last we saw of the characters was Wendy's brother Joe getting taken by the alien, her going after him and slightly staying with the alien eggs, and then Kirsch and the 3 others were with some of the other specimens. And Morrow was was with the alien, and the alien, and he had to go off and like find somebody. But anyway, so this continues on, and things get more and more intriguing. It's just kind of like a lick the wounds episode. It's kind of like a transition into like the meat and potatoes of the show, because not a ton happens in this episode. Like, I'm not saying like nothing happens. It's just like it's a transitionary period of like the Act 1, which is like the first 2 episodes, and then this is kind of like the like transition into Act 2 of it, which is probably going to be the next like 3-ish episodes. And then the last like 2 is going to be like Act 3. So if I were to, well, the last, so this is like kind of the beginning of Act 2, I would say. And it's kind of like getting into all of that. So not a ton happens. And it's I will say what I love about the show is Noah Hawley's deeper understanding of Alien and it, like, not it as a franchise, but it as a movie. Because the only thing you need to worry about here is the first movie. Because it's a direct prequel. It's like 3 years before, it's like it's like 3 years prior to the events of Alien. I believe that's what it was. So, there's all that. But it continues on. As I mentioned before, I think the acting is overall fantastic. And I think they all do a wonderfully excellent job. Like, I don't know many of the names outside of Timothy Olyphant, but I think they all do a very good job with how they handle specific personalities of each character. So with this, so I think with all of this, I lost my train of thought for a sec, but okay, the personalities of the kids in the adult bodies, like the I think the main girl, the main woman, Sydney Chandler, I think I think she is the best out of like all of them. Maybe that's the point because she's like the first synth. So she's like the first like hybrid, I should say, and she like has like this very like rugged concept of her emotions and how she handles like certain things, and I really like that. I think she does a good job of that. And then you have like a couple other characters that that do it, like for instance Adarsh Gurab as Slightly, and a couple of, and I think I forget, but the black kid, I forget, I don't know the actor's name, but they have very kid-like personalities, which is very interesting. I'm like, oh, that's kind of not great, but it's just like, it's different people and how this situation affects them, and I think that's really good. So also, by the way, I want to say hello to Antonio Baker and Hunter Iggy and anybody new joining the chat I did not say hello to. So hello, all you guys. And then you have other characters like Arana James as Curly. She is what is her name? Arana James as Curly. She's like kind of like out there and like kind of strange. And then Lily Newmark, sorry, not Lily Newmark is the strange one. Arana James is, sorry. Arana James is like this very like, she's like this, has like this ego, and she seems more adult than the rest of the kids, and that's very interesting. And then Lily Newmark, she was she's kind of the strange one. She's like kind of like out there. She's like kind of doesn't really understand like these concepts, I guess, of like where they are. I don't know how to really say that, but I don't really know how to like describe that properly, but she's just very different. She's just the strangest one, and it's just like, you're like, something's gonna happen with her, and it's not gonna be great. So obviously, we'll see, but I think where that goes, but I think it's definitely very interesting. So I I'm very curious. And then obviously we have the stuff with Joe, played by Alex Hawther. I think that's very interesting. And even though we don't know these characters very long, I already care about them. They're already like so like interesting to me. The character of Morrow is very intriguing because he's like the way that they, especially in this episode, you're like, why is it because this guy's part cyborg? What is it? What is with this guy? And then you get like an insight into his character in this episode. So well done. So well done. So I think, you know, what Alien Earth did with Morrow's character was very interesting. Because I'm like, oh, what is with this dude? And then it's revealed and it's like, oh, you fucking get it. And it's kind of like what Ellen Ripley went through in Aliens. And if anybody knows Aliens, you know what I'm talking about. But, you know, yes, Alien Neverland, yes. But yeah, I think, and the story progression was very, again, it's so slow moving, but it's like, that's what Alien is so good. Like, that is like probably some of the best pacing in the movie because it's so dreadfully slow, but it's never boring. That's what they show you. It is painfully slow without the painfully. You know, it's like it goes at a snail's pace, but it's like that's exactly what Ridley Scott's Alien did. And I think Noah Hawley understands that perfectly. I also love his music choices. We've had Tool, we've had Metallica, a lot of great stuff. So Noah Hawley's still with the baller, with the with the baller music choices. So I definitely appreciate that. And then, Dana Gonzalez has been doing a great job directing wise. Noah Hawley has written or co-written all of the episodes. So this one was the first co-written episode by Bob De Laurentiis. This is probably the best one because it just like shit happens and you're like, okay, now this is really starting to get going, but like it still doesn't give you all the answers. I love the character of Kirsch. Very interesting. Again, not just because he's played by Timothy Olyphant, not just because he does a really good job, but because like it's not like convenient of like they're not doing the thing of like, oh, we don't know anything. It's like this is on Earth. We don't like Alien was so secluded that like you could fucking you have such a huge sandbox to play in and do whatever the hell you want that you know it can be, you know, fine or whatever. You know, so like they're playing with it, but the thing is they're setting things up like the seeds are being planted of like I think I know where this is gonna go, but like it could not. It could not. I'm obviously not gonna talk theories, but actually, you know what? Fuck it, I'll talk theories. But it's just like the way it's making it sound like what is the name of the spaceship? The Magano, I think that's what it's called. The Magonauts, the Magano. That crash lands. So it's like that has all the alien shit on it. So and that was taken by Boy Cavalier. So I can only imagine that in Alien, whenever that takes, I think it's like I think it's 3 years. I think that's what was, you know, fucking reported on. But it, you know, I think it's 2 years. It's 2 years. Sorry. So it's set 2 years before Alien. And I can only imagine what happens in the show is the direct cause of Alien. Because it's like, why would fucking space truckers need to go on this mission to get this egg? Well, it's because in Alien Earth, an actual like research vessel that had specimens on it that was designed for the ship fucking crash landed, and they were taken by this fucking like rich kid like doing experiments and shit. So like, and Yutani is like, okay, well, we gotta get this. What's the nearest fucking ship to this moon that has these eggs that we want? Okay, cool. We'll just send them. We'll get the specimen. We'll be fine. And so also, hello, M8. Very nice to see you. Yes, he did, but he's a very busy boy right now. He's just finished setting up Tier List Tuesday. So it's very 1979. That's what I also love about. I was talking about this last week, how what was so good about it. So I think what I love about it is just like how painstakingly has that blue collar retrofuturism vibe, because I know retrofuturism will say like, oh, it's like a 50s vibe, but like what the 50s saw as the future. But this is like very like what the 70s saw as the future, with the very like they had computers, but it was a very like blue collar idea. Like it's still like green text and it's like all that shit. So it works, and exactly. Yeah, no, yeah, I know you're agreeing. Sorry, I just can't. I'm trying to get my thoughts out and then go to the chat. Anyway, he gets it. Noah Hawley, the man is fucking amazing. I've heard nothing but great things about Fargo. I watched Legion. It was incredible. So, I think that, and yeah, I agree. I'm hooked. I watched GCU Die, surprised they got brother and sister back together so soon. Yeah, I think they're probably setting, because with that final moment, I think they're fucking setting something up with the brother character, and why they have him hooked up to a machine and then they took his lung. So it's like, all right, interesting. So I think they really, really, a bloody fan in charge. He did Legion, and that was mindfuck. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is the type of shit we wanted after that. I mean, Timothy Oliphant, he's doing mainly TV stuff, which is a shame because I feel like he should be a bigger actor, but he isn't for some fucking stupid reason. The man is one of like the greatest fucking actors working today, and like I'm not saying like, oh, and especially with the landscape of TV just getting better and better, but it's still like, I feel like this dude should be a headliner. He was the runner-up for Iron Man, and I could definitely see that. So I'm just saying, guys, Timothy Oliphant. I know they want to reset the timeline, so we'll see. Exactly, because it's just like it's just so funny that like Ridley Scott couldn't adhere to his own canon, yet like, because that's what it is. A lot of the time, it's like the person that invents it can never adhere to it because they just don't really care. They invented it, sure, but it's, well, Ridley Scott. I mean, Dan O'Bannon really invented all of it, but like Ridley Scott did like the look of it all, and it's like then Prometheus comes out, and it's just like they have technology that's way fucking beyond like Alien, and it's like these guys are more futuristic, yet it takes place hundreds of years before Alien. So it's like, what? That doesn't make sense. Anyway, so I just think I just think that they really get a lot right, and clearly Noah Hawley's a fan, and he understands that. And the thing is, what he's doing technology-wise with like everything, how the look is, how it all is, and adhering to canon, it's not like a nostalgia bait reason like, Alien Romulus kind of was. This is just, this is just him being like, I have to understand the source material because we have to set this up properly. And the thing is, it does suffer from some prequelitis, but it's not bad. It's not bad prequelitis, because it's just like some things are set up, but it's just like it's mostly this original story, and they're just have this big sandbox to play in, and it just works, and it's great, and I really love it. And with all of that, the Rotten Tomato scores are still pretty good. It's got a lot of really good reviews. The audience scores are lesser. Maybe it's probably because it's so slow, but for the most part, a lot of people are liking it. And even with that, the premiere draws a promising 9.2 million views globally in the first 6 days. So that's really good. And they've hit because a lot of people are like, oh, it's had like a bad opener. But in this day and age, openers don't really matter. Like premieres don't really matter because people are busy. They got work. They're waiting for it to like, on a free day. Maybe they're waiting until the weekend, and the first 6 days, it includes the weekend because it's on Tuesdays. So I think that's what, they got to really, when people hit the weekend, okay, now is the time I can finally take the time to watch it. So the fact that it's got nearly 10 million views in those first 6 days is really good. So, Agatha All Along had similar numbers, as well as, Zombies 4, which is kind of funny. But yeah, good on Alien Earth. I can't wait for what else this show has in mind. And I think it's got a great cast, a very talented cast, very different, diverse. And I'm not saying diverse in like a racial thing, just like a diverse of like how these actors interpret these characters in different ways, and it works. The overall setting and look, the music, the production design, the story, certain characters. I love how nuanced and subtle and gray everything is. How it's just like you could see, like, Boy Cavalier. That's how Reed Richards should have fucking been in the movie. Maybe with a little bit less of like a kiddie kind of look of like, but like of him, like, you know, he being so young and like having that ego. But at the same time, I'm like, that's what I fucking wanted from Reed Richards in the movie in First Steps. I'm like, that's exactly Reed Richards right there. If they ever cast Reed Richards in the future, I want this guy to play him because he's good at playing a fucking asshole, but at the same time, he's kind of weirdly endearing. Like, I don't like totally hate him yet because I'm like, you understand his thought process. So I don't totally hate him yet like Tony does. But yeah, watch the. I know a friend of a friend, and he's like, I'm gonna binge it once all the episodes are out. So that's fair. So it works. Like, we don't know anything about Earth because none of the Alien movies took place on Earth, so it works. Yeah, exactly. Some of them like do it very differently. Like Wendy, I feel is the most balanced, but the other actors, there's some that are more kid-like, some are more adult-like, and it all works. No fucking way. No. They're not getting Michael Fassbender to appear in the show. I think that's too much for them. It's probably too big. He's probably touting too big of a salary, and it just doesn't make sense. And I think Noah Hawley wants to avoid that because, I mean, he pretty much said initially that he doesn't consider Prometheus and Covenant canon. So, because, and like the stuff with this is like, it kind of retroactively like diminishes those because now they kind of don't really make sense. Speed up on a tip. Yeah, I can kind of see that. Like, bro, just wear shoes. Like, I'd like you a lot more if you just fucking wore shoes, man. Yeah, I mean, have you not been watching the review? I've been glowing review last week and this week. I don't think it's that divisive. I mean, I know Rotten Tomatoes isn't exactly the be all and end all, but I've seen nothing but positive things for this. I've seen a couple people that are like, I refuse to watch it because of this, that, and the other thing, but they're assholes, so fuck them. But I think oh, okay, that makes sense. Right. So now we're done talking about spoilers. So yeah, I think I don't think it's very divisive, but I love the show. I love the actors. I love the story. I love the production design. I love the music. All of it's really good. So yeah, sorry, that makes sense. But I don't think it's divisive. Yeah, I'm with Tony on this. I don't think it's very divisive. I think it's, for the most part, positive. At the very least, it's like mixed to positive. I don't, it's, I've seen nothing but great things for it. It's the only reason I could see is just like people not liking it is because it's slow. But it's like, so was the original Alien. That was slow, and that was slow but good. This is also slow but good. Plus, it's a TV show, so it seems even slower. So that's the only thing I could see, like, maybe people not liking it, and maybe because, we don't get a lot of Alien action. So yeah, it's mixed to positive. I would say it's mixed. I don't think it's like divisive. I don't think, like, when I hear divisive, it's like Man of Steel. Half the audience hates it, half the audience loves it. This is like mainly like a lot of people like it, but some people are like, oh, it could be better. But it's only 3 episodes in, so obviously we'll see by the end of the season if people really, really like it or really, really hate it. Yeah, probably, because I know like a guy I've seen that posts on a lot of my friends' posts. He's like, yeah, fucking, they should have learned from Alien versus Predator Requiem. Don't put shit on Earth. This is like Disney slop, and it's like, okay, because they tried this one thing, it failed. They can't do it ever again because this one idea failed. It's like, fucking get your head out of your ass, fucker. Anyway, exactly. No filler. Noah Hawley was always great about having no filler. Brilliant. Same with Dark. Well, that wasn't Noah Hawley, but Dark was another one that didn't have filler. And I could sing the praises of Dark without Dan here because he's a fucking idiot who doesn't understand Dark. Because Dark is excellent and the greatest show I've ever seen in my life. So, not a casual thing. So this is not for this is for Alien fans. So I could see people not liking it because of that, but it's still, for the most part, I think pretty well received. But at that, I think we have talked about this at length. Let's move on to bigger and better things. Because now we got to get that Bossa Nova elevator music in here. We gotta get into the quick hits, guys. Gotta get into the quick hits. Dan, I don't know if he's gonna be on DCU Daily, but I think he will be on Tier List Tuesdays. But we'll see because we're gonna be because there's not a ton of DC news, and it's quick hits. We gotta be quick. So obviously, hang on a sec. There it is. Okay, cool. So the first quick hit that we have is, we were talking about this either yesterday or last week. So the first thing is Duffer Brothers have closed their deal with Skydance Paramount. We don't know if it's going to be called Skydance Paramount or just Paramount, but they have closed their 4-year film, TV, and streaming mega deal with Paramount, which has let them leave Netflix, which, I mean, was only Stranger Things. So let's hope that they move on to bigger and better things. And by bigger and better things, like actually make a show that's consistent and like consistently good. That would be fucking great, you douchebags. Anyway, but yeah, good on them. I hope they actually create good stuff now and they weren't just a one-trick pony. Next thing is, I'm pretty sure we talked about this, but Netflix giving Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein a theatrical release. After all, we did talk about this the other day, where it's getting an October 17th theatrical window, and then it's going to come out on Netflix on November 7th. So, I think that's great. I can't wait for the movie. I'll try to see it in theaters, but since it is, limited, and it's probably not going to only appear in select theaters. So we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, very excited for that movie. But the box office for Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Infinity Castle, I can't talk, and I'm not good with foreign stuff. So apparently they're breaking anime pre-sale records. Top circuits near 10 million in advance tickets at the box office. So all the weebs are coming out, guys. They're gonna go be seeing Infinity Castle with ya boy Channing Tatum. So yes, Tony Randall, Duff Me, awesome news for Frankenstein. Well, maybe Netflix didn't want them because they're like, dude, your fucking show hasn't been good since season 2. Get the fuck out of here. It looks too good for streaming. Only Frankenstein. Yeah, but that's the power of Guillermo del Toro. He's been working for them for a while. So that makes sense. What they'll do for Paramount. Curious what they'll do. Yeah, I'm curious what they'll do. Hopefully good stuff. Also, what are you talking about? I think you're still early on in the show. I think he's very early on because we're talking about Demon Slayer right now. But anyway, yes, I agree. But yeah, cool. Also, hello M2G. Very nice to see you. Hopefully all the weebs are happy with this. Moving on. Farewell, MSNBC. Hello, my source for news, opinion, and the world. Wait, what? Making sense of MS Now, the corporate mandated rebrand for the cable TV outlet that made its name as a left-leaning stalwart. Yeah. So now they have MS Now instead of MSNBC. So cool, great, don't care. Nexstar seals a merger with Tegna in $6.2 billion TV mega deal. Nexstar had been in talks with smaller rival Tegna to merge its local TV stations amid the continuing consolidation of the U.S. broadcast sector. Now, as we all know, Nexstar was the one that took over the CW, and that's why WB and Paramount kind of phased out of that, because originally Paramount had UPN and Warner Brothers had the WB. That's where Smallville and Supernatural originally appeared on. I think UPN, that's where Star Trek Voyager was for a while. And then those merged, and essentially Warner Brothers and Paramount had a 50-50 stake in this. And then eventually with both Paramount and Warner Brothers kind of on the downturn because both were kind of facing bankruptcy, Paramount got saved by Skydance. Warner Brothers got saved by David Zaslav. So they eventually just, both of them sold their majority stake in CW. So that's when Nexstar came in and bought it out. And now it's mainly a news station and not really a lot of, it's mostly syndicated programming and reality shows and news and stuff like that. So, but they apparently merged with a rival Techno. So congrats, but cool. And now we have Gal Gadot backpedaling. She clarifies her comments because the other day we were talking about how she was saying, oh, the reason that Snow White failed is because of the stuff in Israel, when it's just like, no, it's just a bad movie. But she clarified her statements. But she was saying, she enjoyed the movie and there were different reasons why it didn't do well at the box office and all that shit. Just trying to have good PR, good face. But I think it's safe to say that the days of Gal Gadot's height are over. She's no longer Wonder Woman. Nobody really cares about her. So I think she's just going to go into, just kind of fade into obscurity and going to be on bargain bin crap. Maybe she'll be with Dean Cain and Kevin Sorbo. But yeah. Don't really care. Anyway, Ben Stiller's pickleball comedy, The Dink, probably the greatest name for a comedy series ever, lands at Apple, which is unsurprising since he is the executive producer of Severance, and he's reteaming with the Zoolander star after their collaboration on Severance. So apparently, that they are going to be, Josh Greenbaum and Ben Stiller are going to be joining to create The Dink. Jake Johnson, the always great Jake Johnson, is a washed-up tennis pro convinced to stoop to play pickleball to save a struggling club and earn his father's respect. Very typical kind of like, I'm washed up, I need to do this thing, and then I'll be the great again. So it's like, yeah, and considering how big like pickleball is now, I can see this happening. So yeah. Whose line is it anyway? I think that's still running. But that's about it. The only thing that was worth a damn was Superman and Lois, and that ended. So, what's pickleball? It's essentially tennis, but instead of like rackets, it's like wooden paddles. And instead of like a tennis ball, it's like a small wiffle ball. It's like a small plastic ball, but it's like kind of like the same kind of net. I think that's what it is. I know it's like really huge now, so. That's fair. And it's a smaller, okay, so it is a smaller court, because it's a smaller ball and smaller rackets and that kind of thing. So yeah, that's pickleball. I remember that that was like played in gym like 10 years ago when I was in high school. So, yeah, I think, then it just became fucking huge. It like, I don't know why, it just tennis got drowned out and then just pickleball became the new thing. So cool, great, I guess. But yeah, this looks kind of funny. Maybe I'll watch it. Apple is usually good with their shows. But apparently, speaking of Apple and streaming hits another record high in July, Nielsen says. YouTube and Netflix alone have more use than broadcast networks and Thai cable for the month, while Squid Game is the most streamed show. Yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, they're finally, spend money to make money, because they finally reached the point where it's like streaming is actually doing well now after, like 5 years of not doing well. So 5, 6, 7 years. So, no, it's not like racquetball. It's because racquetball is like against a wall, and pickleball is like a tennis thing. So yeah. But yeah. Where's it big at? UK, US, everywhere, nothing to do with actual pickles. Yeah, it's nothing having to do with pickles. But it's big in the US. It became big in the US for some reason. I don't know why. I just know everybody was started fucking talking about pickleball. So Ben Stiller is getting on the trend. So cool. But yeah, record high for streaming. Cool, great. But ironically, as Korean content explodes, series orders from the country plummet. Fewer streamers are hunting for the next K-pop Demon Hunters, analysis found. So it seems like even though you do have this a lot of great success with Squid Game and K-pop Demon Hunters, they're still not really, they're not going after the next big thing, which is very interesting because it's like you can make a lot of money with this, guys, because Korea has a lot of great content and a lot of great writers and actors that you can use. K-pop Demon Hunters proved that. Squid Game kind of was on the downturn after season 1, but we'll see. But that doesn't surprise me because they're like, oh, we're not doing that because we're stupid. So, so it seems like they're dropping, and which is a shame. It's a very shame because it's Korean media, films, TV, that they've been always top tier. So it's a shame that not more people are honing in on that talent. But speaking of foreign talent, political drama number 10 on its way from Sherlock creator Stephen Moffat and Channel 4. So it's going to be a political show from Stephen Moffat. Which means it's going to be terrible and not subtle at all. So congrats on that. But yeah, the government will be fictional, but the problems will be real. It's going to be set inside the British Prime Minister's official residence, obviously 10 Downing Street. So yeah, if you're excited about this, cool. Department Q renewed for a second season on Netflix. Awesome. I think my parents watched the show, so good on them. Cool, great. Congrats for Department Q, especially Netflix greenlighting a show after season 1, which means it's going to be canceled after season 2. Guy Pearce and Jack O'Connell eyeing Danny Boyle's next film, Ink, from Studio Canal, with Pearce in line to play media mogul Rupert Murdoch. So hopefully they can actually get 28 Years Later Part 3 done, and then they can do this movie. See you later, Watcher. Sorry, I didn't get a chance to see that. Less K-pop demons, more boys love dropping. Guy Pearce is great. I have no idea what you're talking about. But yeah, Guy Pearce and Jack O'Connell, they are great actors, and Danny Boyle is a great director. So obviously, we'll see for the future if this does well. But next up is Weapons, staying number 1 at the UK and Ireland box office as Materialists and name I will not be trying to pronounce, Cooley opens strong. Apparently, Weapons is still holding its own with a £1.5 million take for the second weekend, and bringing its total to £6.2 million, which is about $8.4 million, according to ComScore. So that's very awesome. And the other two open strong, Cooley and Materialist, with 1.7 and 1.27. So congrats to all three. Weapons is just killing it. But next is Coyotes. Justin Long and Kate Bosworth's horror comedy Coyote sets fall release. Director Colin Minahan's film will premiere next month at its Fantastic Fest before hitting theaters from Aura Entertainment. So apparently Coyote centers on a family who must fight for their lives while trapped in their Hollywood Hills home as a pack of coyotes targets them. So it's kind of like The Gray, but like in the Hollywood Hills. Interesting. I'd go see it. I like Justin Long. Kate Bosworth is there, so maybe I'll watch it. Next up, Jason Momoa, David Leitch package The Pirate lands at Amazon MGM Studios. Jason Momoa is killing it. Minecraft movie, that Polynesian epic that's going to be coming out soon. He had C on Apple TV. So, but yeah, it's gonna, it's The Raid set on a pirate ship. Done. You got me hooked. Definitely gonna watch this. David Leitch and Jason Momoa, hell yeah, gonna 100% watch it. Just hopefully it's not gonna suck because it's at Amazon MGM, which do not have a great track record with movies now. But apparently Josh Brolin says Greg Fraser won't be back for Dune Part 3 as he takes on Sam Mendes' 4 Beatles. All 4 of the Beatles biopics are gonna be helmed DP wise by Greg Fraser, and with that, his return for the Batman Part 2 is not looking likely. Also, hello, Yash. Sounds awesome. How does Josh Brolin know that? Because he's fucking filming the movie right now. Hello? they're in pre-production. So, obviously. And then next up, we got Zack Snyder sets passion project, The Last Photograph, as next film and taps Stuart Martin and Fra Free to star. I have no idea who those two actors are, but apparently the film is about it sort of follows an ex-DEA operative who must return to the mountains of South America in an effort to find his missing niece and nephew following the brutal murders of their diplomat parents. Enlisting the help of a washed-up junkie war photographer, the only person to have seen the face of the killers, he sets out determined to find the children and the truth, but soon learns he must also face the ghosts of his past. So, could be good, but we'll just see. It depends who's writing it. Who's writing it, Zach? Maybe it could be good. I'm not holding my breath, though. Next up, the final quick hit we have, James Gunn and Zack Snyder Justice League were listed on Fortnite's August 2025 survey for possible skins. I mean, Fortnite is cancer, but it's pretty fucking awesome that James Gunn, of all people, were celebrities. And guys, don't have Ozzy Osbourne, please, for the love of God. Also, why he smells like Nirvana? What? Anyway, but guys, come on, don't fucking do Ozzy Osbourne. Jesus Christ. Fucking have some goddamn respect. But yeah, but specifically Zack Snyder's Justice League. Sure. Yeah. All right. Okay. Just blow up the chat with that one. It makes Michael Bay look like Kubrick. I mean, you're not wrong. This is awful news. Which one's awful? All of it. I hope it's good. His Rebel Moon. Yeah. I don't really give a fuck about Fortnite. So yeah. But yeah. But that's it for the quick hits, guys. That is it for the quick hits. So let me get rid of that fucking bossa nova elevator music. And just want to thank everyone for watching the news portion of the show. Next, we are going to be getting into DCU Daily. But thank you for watching this. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. But now we are going to be very, very, very blessed from the start, as James Gunn always says.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Honka honka!
All right, guys, let's get in. It's DC time. DC time, guys. Very exciting. Welcome to DCU Daily. So we don't have a ton for you guys today, but we do have enough. We do have a little bit, a little tidbit, but obviously, we are going to be getting into probably the biggest story we have today. I mean, it's in the thumbnail, as you guys probably saw, but we are getting a new Lego Batman game, guys. Hell yeah. I mean, I haven't played a Lego game in fucking years, but honestly, my friend was stoked about this. So many people I know are stoked about this. And you know what? Honestly, I might get this because this looks fucking awesome. Because it looks like they're essentially doing the Skywalker saga, but for Batman. It's got Batman Returns, and it's got Arkham stuff, and it's got the detective vision and all that. So it seems we're gonna be getting some fucking awesome stuff with this. Now, I know the Skywalker saga, I heard that was pretty bad, but it seems like we're gonna be getting a lot of interesting, from Batman 89 to the Batman. So it looks like it's inspired by all, and we're gonna be getting some really great stuff with this. So This looks like a ton of fun, and it would be even more fucking hilarious if like a Batman Lego game like showed up Rocksteady's crap of Kill the Justice League. So you know what? Honestly, I'm with it. I'm with it. Like straight up, like I think like, here's the thing. I've played a little bit of DC supervillains, like the slightest bit. I haven't played a ton of it, but just that shot in fucking, with Batman. Just Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight. Very wonderful. This just looks a ton of fun. And Matt Berry is doing Bane, and it's just like I don't know, this just looks a lot like a lot of fucking fun. Like this just looks great. I mean, the thing is, I played the Lego games a lot when I was a kid, and then like after a couple bad ones, I was just like, you know what? Yeah, kinda don't really wanna. But now it seems like we're gonna be getting something good in the future. Um, so I did some Matt Reeves is producer on both Clayface's Dynamic Duo. What do you think that means for the DCU at large? Is Battinson going? No. Even James Gunn confirmed this like months, maybe even years ago, that Matt Reeves is kind of like the Batman guy. He's like heading all the Batman. He was an executive producer on Cape Crusader, and as I said, Clayface, and also he's like kind of the Batman guy. Like he's like heading Batman stuff, so he's going to be a producer on all that stuff. So, yes, we know that Catwoman is not returning to. I don't think we're going to be talking about that though. But yes, we do know that she's not returning, which is honestly good. Like I kind of didn't really like Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman anyway. But we're not doing that just yet. We still got to do DCU Daily first. So that's for the next show. We're going to be getting into that hopefully very soon. Exactly, that's what I was thinking. But apparently there's only 7 playable characters, which is different from like a lot of other games which have like a big like list of like fucking 400 playable characters. So that's interesting. But yes, we are gonna bring in your super chat now. Patrick Bateman voice sees Lego Batman video game impressive. Very nice. Let's see a Superman video game. I agree. Like we almost got a Flash game, which fucking never saw the light of day. We never got that Wonder Woman game. It's just like, look, I don't get me wrong. I love Batman and I love his games, but it's like, guys, give us something fucking new. Like we could have had the Nemesis system with a Wonder Woman game. Why do you hate us so much? And then we got fucking Kill the Justice League. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. So, yeah, but Batmite's behind this game in some ways here. WB Games looking like it's on the come up under. Hopefully, one can only hope. Which really ties into tier list tonight. Yes, that is also very true. I also have a soft spot for Lego games. Like I kind of dropped off around like Lego Star Wars 3 Clone Wars and Lego Pirates of the Caribbean because I just got like they were just so bad to me that I'm just like no, and then I kind of gave up after that. Why so serious? Why the F? What F? I'm not serious. What are you talking about? Get the fuck out of here. Also, hello, Ron. Excited for I think everybody's side because this is like the one thing that unites us all is Lego Batman, except for the assholes in middle school that made fun of me for liking Lego games. So that's fun. But they're assholes and I'm not. So fuck them. Yeah. Didn't Gunn also say that Ultraman being a maybe I don't really remember specifically. It was probably like vague, like he's like, I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying yes, because that's a very James Gunn thing to do. Yeah, Lego Indiana Jones, Lego Star Wars, fucking, the Batman games, all of them were just classics. All of them. So great. I even had Lego Rock Band. That was awesome. What is the best? I haven't played many Justice League video games, so I don't know. Yeah, it was always publicists talking about it, so not confirmed technically until Matter James say it. Um, but no, I didn't see that, and I know that there was a Gotham by Gaslight game that was also canceled. That footage leaked as well. Um, yeah, I think like you could definitely do like a Green Arrow game that's kind of like Spider-Man, where it's like agility based and all that. Zoolander Blue Steel. But yeah, obviously, like they have this great because it's like we'll patent this system, but we won't fucking use it ever because they hate us. Yeah, Gotham Knights sucked from what I've heard. What's your favorite Batman game? Probably one of the Lego Batman games. I really liked Lego Batman, but I also like Lego Batman 2. But in all seriousness, it's probably Arkham City. Like that's my favorite game of all time. Like that game was so fucking good. Um, but yeah, I remember Justice League Heroes. I remember vaguely remember that coming out. And also hello. Did you never play? No, I just said I played Arkham City. I had like a brain fart. I'm like, oh yeah, like yeah, the Lego game. And I'm like, oh wait, the Arkham games. So I played Arkham Asylum and then Arkham City, but I never played Arkham Knight or no, I did play Arkham Origins. I never finished it. I didn't really find it interesting. And then I never played Guild of Justice League because that's not an Arkham game, and fuck you for saying it is. But I never played Arkham Knight because that was only available on like the next generation of ones I didn't have. Like it was on the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 and all that, and I didn't have those at the time. And then I also heard it was terrible, so I never played it. So and I don't really want to play it because like it's one of those things where it's like everyone said it was bad at the time, and then Suicide Squad came out and they're like, maybe I was too harsh on you. So I but yeah, Arkham Asylum was fucking so good. Arkham City did all the best things of Arkham Asylum, and like fucking because Arkham Asylum started out as like a Dark Knight tie-in game, and then they were like, no, let's work on this. Let's make it something more. And they're like, okay, and then they made Arkham Asylum. So I mean, I guess like I don't know. I haven't played it. I just heard it was like fucking terrible, and now people love it because Suicide Squad sucked donkey dicks. So, but yeah, Arkham City, fucking great. So, I just did play Origins. Anywho, um, but yeah, I think we'll just do that. But yeah, I think I'm excited for this game. As people have been doing in the comments, best and worst Batman games. Jordan asking question: how should the best possible Superman game be? Is it open world or outer space, other worlds, etc.? I think it should be like an open world kind of game. Only so much because the thing is, you can't like. The only way I could think of it, like, do something like Skyrim or Red Dead Redemption, where you have like an entire world to play in, like literally a world. Like you can go to like different like Earths. Like only do like certain cities because there's only so much you can fucking put in a game before it's like 900 terabytes of fucking data. So, but I would like to see, don't do like a depowered Superman, but like have like a certain, like Troy Boy had a really good video on it. Like I know there's that game on Steam that's like free where it's like kind of like a Superman game. You can't hit or kill civilians. Yes, I would agree with that. Kind of like Spider-Man. Think I played. I tried playing Superman Returns, and I got to like the first like major boss fight in like space, and then I couldn't beat it. So I was like, "Yep, there goes that." Open world Peacemaker game would be great. Honestly, that would be really fun, and we'll get into Peacemaker stuff later. So, but going from one Batman thing to another. Speaking of Batman Part 2, apparently John Turturro was also backpedaling, just like Gal Gadot. So now he's saying why he didn't reprise his role as Carmine Falcone in the Penguin. He's like, I had done it already. I felt really good doing the Batman, and I didn't know if I wanted to continue. I like to come in, do my thing, and then leave. Says the man who did 4 Transformers movies. Okay. And then did a like 20-year sequel to The Big Lebowski that sucked. Okay, sure. But like, because his original reasoning was there's violence against women, and he didn't like that, so he didn't come back, even though he literally played a pedophile in The Big Lebowski. But again, okay. And now he's saying I didn't do it because like I didn't want to continue doing this character because I did it already. Like I don't know. Exactly. It's I actually don't know how many of those he did, but he did. Again, I'm saying this is a guy who did 3 or 4 Transformers movies, yet like doing a show to one of the biggest hits, Batman, one of the biggest fucking Batman movies, like one of the considered one of the best, but like doing a show also got critically acclaimed and tons of great reviews. No, I'm not going to do that because I did one project and was okay with it. Like it just, all of this is very silly. But yeah, I like John Turturro. He's a great actor, but like both of his reasonings are fucking stupid. This is like violence against women. You played a pedophile, so children are okay, but like women are not. And the thing is, there's not a ton of violence against women in the show, but whatever. But didn't they kill off Carmine in the movie? They wouldn't have been able to. Well, it was flashbacks. It was all flashbacks in the show, so that's what that was about. But he could have gotten an Emmy nom, but oh no, he had to be like, no, not for me. Michael Bay, you want me to do another Transformers? Hell yeah, I'll do that. So it sounds like Jeremy went back on Kick-Ass 2 because of gun violence. Yeah, it's just overall very silly. It's like you took the paycheck and ran, so like congrats, but sure. But yeah, I just think that's it's just like silly things. That's just like if you didn't want to do it, fine. Just give good reasoning as to why, because neither of these reasons were very good. Yeah. Violence against women. Yeah, okay. The show I really want to see is the show following Salvatore and Carmine when they're younger, rising to power in Gotham Underworld. Yeah, that could be good. Yeah, but like at the same time, it's like do something good. Like, hello. One more thing against Batman too. I guess we'll see. I know the whole thing with Greg Fraser has people in an uproar, but it's like there's other really good cinematographers that could take the reins. It's like he's not the only good one. Like people can calm the fuck down about that. But yeah, now we move on to the next thing. But talking about James Gunn's brother, Sean Gunn, who plays Maxwell Lord, as well as playing some of the more CGI characters in the shows and movies. Says James Gunn's DCU embraces unique vision of different storytellers, makes it similar to the comics. They can be different genres even. Yes, this is essentially what James Gunn is saying and reiterating those same bullet points, but now from the brother. So obviously I can't look into this article because the rap sucks. Fuck you, the rap. But we do have him essentially just being like, yeah, the reason that these shows work, the reason these movies work of adaptation of comics is because you can do different genres. Look at like you could do there are war comics, Western comics, horror comics, and not even just like Vault of Horror, Tales of the Crypt, all that shit, but like at the same time, there's like different like Swamp Thing is horror, Supergirl is cosmic adventure, Superman is like a kind of weird coming of age movie of sorts. So like all of them, like these different things can work. So it's just like I think I'm not gonna say I have agreed with every decision James Gunn has made. Yeah, rated R comedy for Peacemaker. Um, if you can fucking type, you can fucking get on the goddamn podcast if you got a lot to say, Dan. Jesus Christ. Um, I would say it's a sci-fi action film. I would say. Um, exactly. You got that punk rock vibe from Supergirl, so it works. So yeah, I think this just reiterates what we've been saying for a long time, that this is the best course of action for this story, because it's just something that Marvel is just not like doing for some reason. They just refuse to learn their lesson, and meanwhile, James Gunn's like, I see the turmoil over there. Let me not do that over here. So, you know what? Boom. There we go. Sorry. But yeah, I agree. And then, but then he also had a lot to say about Maxwell Lord being a villain is not leading the way for his take on the character. So, as we all know, initially Maxwell Lord was not really a villain. He wasn't really a hero. He was just kind of a glorified supporting character, because he's the one after what was it? After Christ on Infinite Earth, Justice League had to have a new roster because they were all the big names were off doing their own solo series, and they wanted to focus on those. So they're like, okay, Justice League, but it's like with a team of like B and C listers. So they're like, it's like, okay, let's make it corporate and like kind of like a kind of a wink and a satirical nod against Reaganomics at the time. And it's aged like fine wine because he single-handedly ruined the economy. We just didn't know it yet. So Maxwell Lord was brought in as sort of just this like guy that was just like funding this stuff and just like a corporate suit, like doing all this kind of dumb shit. And then like fucking like 20, 30 years later, they're like, oh no, he's actually a villain, and then shoots Ted Kord in the head. Because sure, I guess, I think he was like possessed or something, or like he gained powers or whatever the hell. Yes, Justice League International. It's just what genre would you want them to put? I think a good a sword and sandal epic could be really good. I mean, I know they already did a war movie for Wonder Woman. I think like do a proper fantasy film. Have it be like against Cersei or something. That would be great. Like give us that. I don't know. I just think it's not like uproariously funny. So yeah, maybe I would say yeah, fuck it. Do it as a comedy. So yeah, I think it just goes to show what the original vision was, and considering James Gunn is a huge Justice League International fan, it makes sense that Maxwell Lord isn't going to be like a straight up villain. He's just kind of a douchebag, and he's not like evil like Lex Luthor. He's just kind of an asshole, and and remember, the one thing conservatives and liberals can agree on is that Lex Luthor fucking sucks. Yeah, full Greek epic. What was the CW based on? Jail? What do you mean? What was the CW based on? Like the CW, like the Justice League on CW? Is that what you're saying? Sorry, I'm just a little confused. But yeah, I think definitely a good take to have. I just don't think don't make him like a full-fledged villain. So this is definitely good news. It's not the purpose of that. Oh, I mean, I don't think they really based it around like a Justice League. It's just like, hey, what's our biggest characters? Shove them onto this Justice League. Like I said, they have the Flash, they have Supergirl, they have Black Lightning, they have White Canary, and then like a couple others, and then Superman as well, and all that shit. So it's like, yeah, cool, great. Estimates. Yeah, I kind of get that vibe too. But yeah, we still have a little bit more before we head into the bigger story of today in regards to Peacemaker, just like kind of like a transitionary period. But despite Superman now being available on digital, James Gunn says you don't have to watch it before Peacemaker season 2 because the series will explain everything. We were talking about this the other day, how unlike Marvel, they're like, oh, we're not going to have homework for our viewers, and this is like kind of leading the way for that. Like, it'll explain everything, you don't have to watch it, but but yet at the same time, he's like, you made it available on digital so people can watch it before Peacemaker. It's like, all right, sure. Yeah, exactly. He's the money, not the muscle. Exactly. It was whoever they had the rights to. Never Batman got it. Take this ball ass to Bella Reeve. Yeah, that kind of vibe. He's contradicting himself again about racing for early Superman release. Yeah, I can kind of see it, but like at the same time, I think it's just like I think they just want to like have it on digital because there were I feel like a bunch of people that were like, I want to see this movie, but I can't go to the theater to see it because of insert reason here. So I think he just wants people to see Superman. That's all. Maybe there is a more nefarious reasons like, oh, like this, that, and the other thing, but I don't think so. Maybe he's just saying that, like, hey, if you want to watch Superman from the safety of your own home and then go into Peacemaker, you can. You have that available. But I don't think he's saying that, like, Superman was, like, necessary viewing. So I don't think he's backpedaling again like he usually is. I don't think he's contradicting himself. I think it's just like, hey, you have this option if you have it. So let's make it available. But you don't have to if you don't want to. Yeah, they don't have the homework vibe either. So, that's that. But speaking of Peacemaker, let's get officially into the Peacemaker side of things. James Gunn revealing when Peacemaker is going to be showing up on your doorstep on August 21st, and obviously every succeeding episode. But somebody asked, was like, hey, is this shit going to be like available like from like 3 a.m. Like it was? But James Gunn was like, the show debuts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so keep that in mind, Dan. We might have to do it on Fridays, so I don't think we can fucking squeeze that in, but we'll try. We'll try to have Peacemaker reviews on the Thursdays, but if we can't make it work, we'll do it Friday. But the show debuts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time this Thursday, August 21st in the U.S. I'm getting dates and platforms for all the other countries now. Will post soon. Obviously, that's because that involves more business side of stuff with, Peter Safran. So he's probably getting information from him, and then we will get to see that. I don't know if we did eventually get to see that, but no, we didn't get that yet. But so anybody who wanted the time, we have a time. It's going to be at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But very very cool, and that's different from Creature Commandos, I think. Yes, very different. Because Creature Commandos was good. But yeah, awesome, great. Now we have a time. But apparently, shortly before Peacemaker's second season drops now 1 day instead of 2, blockbuster director James Gunn called his friend and collaborator Rainn Wilson to talk dance orgies, evil billionaires, MySpace auctions, and how Gunn, co-CEO of DC Studios, shot Superman and Peacemaker simultaneously, link in bio. And James Gunn saying, always so fun talking to Rainn Wilson, whether it's being recorded or not. And there, Detective Jim for the DCU, yes. But this is the full article of James Gunn look at demise. Dan, I think we have another thumbnail picture, maybe, hopefully. But yeah, James Gunn talking with Rainn Wilson inside his DC. We're not going to be covering the entire thing, but like if you want to go read it, it's on what website? It's on Interview. So go read it, and it's by Rainn Wilson, and it was posted today. Well, yesterday now for Eastern people, but it's just essentially kind of just going through the motions. But there is a hang on. So he's kind of talking about let's see where he mentions here it is anyway. So they were talking about Superman, and then it gets brought into, he's like talking about doing like 650 pages in 1 year and all that shit. And Wilson was like, that's astonishing. That's astonishing. And I just read today in the trades that you're writing something else. seconds before I got on the phone with you, I was working on that. I had a meeting about Clayface this morning, which is a movie that James Watkins is directing, and I'm really hopeful about. And right before I got on here, I've been writing the Superman sequel script. How do you do that and run a studio at the same time? That's a great question. He doesn't fucking sleep, Rain. I know you probably get these questions a lot, but as someone who's known you a long time and known of your great capacity as a writer and director, it's still pretty staggering that you're doing as much writing as you've done. For me, directing is the heavy lifting. The writing is, I don't want to say easier, but the writing is really fun. There have been times when I said, oh, maybe I should write all this stuff and not direct it. And interesting. So we do get a little bit, of him like talking about that sequel script. So, I have no idea what you're talking about. But we did get a little tidbit on the Superman sequel script, so that's very exciting. And as I have just told you, you can read this whole interview if you would like to see. If you want. So also good to see. But the last thing we have for you today, as I said, DCU Daily was not very big, guys. So James Gunn on Peacemaker's future in the DC universe after season 2. I actually know the answer to that question. But we were talking about this the other day where he was like, I actually know the answer to that question, and I am not at liberty to say under penalty of the Saffron punishment, which is the loss of my knuckle. Every time I give away something, Peter Saffron will take another joint of my finger. It's very painful. He uses a cigar cutter. So obviously we don't know a lot about Peacemaker season 3 or where he's going to really do that, but it's pretty much all but confirmed that Harley Quinn is not coming back, but Bloodsport might be if he can work with Idris Elba, which is just shittier Deadshot. So we'll see. Obviously the new script is the Superman sequel, so he probably has like 17 assistants at this point. But yeah, so in terms of Peacemaker season 3, I'm especially with how positive the buzz is, how big those last 3 episodes are, I'm willing to bet a lot of money that they're gonna greenlight a season 3. And I would imagine that's probably, I think a nice trifecta of seasons is probably the best way to go. Yeah, Gunn can't spill anything or Bugs Bunny will cut his nuts off. But I'm willing to bet that we're gonna get a season 3, and that's probably it because he wants to focus on other shows like Waller and Booster Gold and Lanterns and all that stuff. So I'm willing to bet like we're probably gonna get Peacemaker maybe for 1 or 2 more seasons. I think only 1. And then we're probably obviously we're not going to say goodbye to Peacemaker because he's too lucrative at this point. Like, Peacemaker season 1 was like the highest rated thing that, he fucking did. So, I'm willing to bet that we're going to see. I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts. Do you think we're going to get a Peacemaker season 3 or not? I'm willing to bet on it. I think we're going to get it. Now we'll see how that does. Wow, enterprising saying, of course not. Why don't you think we're going to get a Peacemaker season 3? I'm curious about that because like how positive the first 2 seasons are. First one is and what season 2 is. So I'm curious to know your thoughts on that, enterprising. But Tony agreeing with me. Yes, totally. We're going to get that. Bloodsport is way better developed character than Will's Deadshot. The Suicide Squad is better than yeah. Oh my God. The Suicide Squad is way better than Suicide Squad. That's like not even a point. It's just like Bloodsport is literally just Deadshot again, but not as interesting. It's just like he flipped the script and like that's all we got. Like Deadshot, a guy who clearly needs to do this but cares about his daughter but can't, but is doing these things and all that. And I do think one of the few good things about Suicide Squad was Will Smith as Deadshot. And I think they should have just kept Deadshot in the Suicide Squad. Fuck Will Smith, whatever he says, and just stayed the course. Because I just like, and then you have the whole thing with this, fuck you, no, fuck you, no, fuck you. I'm like, that's not funny. It's interesting. And then at the end, you have like, that's my dad. It's just like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, you hate your dad, but he does this one thing, and it's like, that's all the trauma and bullshit I've had with him. Yep, all gone now. Makes sense. Makes no sense. That could be interesting. but I feel like Checkmate is going to come in with the Waller show that they're trying to work on. Yeah, definitely more Peacemaker. Yes, I think we will get a C3. Of course, not referring to. Way to go, enterprising. Fuck both Smiths in DC. Wait, who's the other? Oh, are you talking about Chris Smith? But yeah, I think we are probably going to get a season 3, and we're going to be getting some interesting things with this season. I mean, he's promising huge things with those final 3 episodes. So that's kind of it, guys. That's it for DCU Daily. I know that was very quick. We mainly talked about the Batman game because that was a huge story, but we had to talk about some other stuff. But it's not the end, so don't worry. We're going to be doing Tier List Tuesdays probably at 12:30 on Eastern Standard Time. But guys, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. So make sure to tune in for Tier List Tuesdays, which hopefully should be on in about a couple minutes. Obviously, go pee, get a snack, whatever you need to do, and then come back for Tier List Tuesdays and all of that. And remember, guys, we are in fact blessed from the start, but also blessed at the end.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I follow my lead? Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Remember, guys, fuck Jeff Snyder.